This Jim Jefferies exposed video that Avi Yemini put up a few days ago and that's kind of gone semi-viral is a perfect example of a part of media training that I try to drill into all of my friends and family's head, which is record everything when interacting with journalists or the media or the press. So some context about what I'm talking about. Avi Yemini is a conservative figure in Australia/New Zealand, and Jim Jefferies is a comedian/television show host that has a TV show. And in his segment, Jim Jefferies' segment, he uses Avi Yemini and this interview with Avi Yemini as part of a segment about the Christchurch shooting and some sort of relation to alt-right and Islamophobia is the narrative. Now, the segment that the Jim Jefferies TV show ran shows a highly edited version of the interview that Jim Jefferies conducted with Avi Yemini. And Avi Yemini had set his phone down on a seat, quietly in the corner while tape ran for the official interview, and was able to release the full unedited interview that he had with Jim Jefferies that showed quite a few discrepancies between what aired on Jim Jefferies' TV show and what actually happened in that interview room that was conducted. And not only did it show discrepancies, it also showed how Jim Jefferies acted differently than how he's portrayed on his television show. So there's two things to unpack here. One is that, let's be real, Jim Jefferies is not sitting there in Adobe Premiere and editing that TV show clip that went out. At the end of the day, Jim Jefferies' television show has a slew of people working behind it, and the person that cut that video clip together, that segment for his TV show, Jim Jefferies had no say on it. He probably walked in the interview, sat down, tried to be as entertaining, as funny as possible, right? Try to get whatever reactions you can out of the guest. And then he walks out the door and doesn't really think about it, and then the producers and line producers and editors go back and try to make something entertaining or funny and chop it up in whatever way. So in some ways, Jim Jefferies wasn't the one that made the editorial calls on that video, but of course his name's on it, he's the one who conducted the interview, so it's somewhat fair that he'll bear the brunt of that public backlash that this edit of this interview was so unfair and obviously warped. That being said, this is true and has always been true for all of these TV shows. I don't care whether it's Samantha Bee, Jon Stewart, Stephen Colbert, Jim Jefferies, any of these comedy show, talk show host things. That's what they do. They go in there, they conduct interviews, and then they rearrange the edit to try to make it funny or convey whatever sort of talking point they want to convey. That's always been the case. And and as much as people love Jon Stewart, his show did that too. So anybody who's in the media is not that shocked by this Jim Jefferies exposed video. That being said, the average person doesn't know this is how it works. And so whenever you're interacting with the media, record it. And I don't care if that's an interview with a journalist on the phone. Take out a phone, take out your computer, and just hit record so you have a log of that interview too. You have a copy of that interview unedited that whatever the journalist or the media or the press organization can't touch. And so if they edit it in a way that you don't like, you can release the full version. And this is twofold. One, because often, whether it's a TV show or a journalist or the press, and there's an interview, and then you're like, wait a minute, my quotes were cut or rearranged. Often this isn't done with total malintent, but sometimes it's done by accident, sometimes it's done by sloppy work, sometimes it's just rushed. There's all kinds of host of reasons, and you should just account for this Jim Jefferies show is a great example that Jim Jefferies wasn't the one that edited that video that ultimately went out on his television show. It was some editor, getting paid 1/10 of what Jim Jefferies gets paid, trying to make something funny. So a good way of just protecting yourself against that kind of machine that is the media is to always record any interaction you have with them. It's fine, just record it. You don't have to use it. You don't have to just keep it in your back pocket so that you have it just in case. That's a perfect example of media training 101. Record your interactions with journalists and the media. Just as there's law training, there's police training, how you interact in the court system, how you interact with police, that citizens of society should know. There are rules of engagement, shall we say, that just people should know in our society. And one of those is just record any interaction you have with the media. This Avi Yemini, exposed Jim Jefferies video is a perfect example of how these television shows and how a lot of the media operates, but at the same time it wasn't Jim Jefferies, of course, who edited this video. Two, it really highlights the importance of what I try to drill into my friends and family, which is that when you're interacting with the media, just record stuff so you always have a copy that you control as well. Anyway, that's all for this video. If you want to check out what I'm referencing, I'll link below in the description. If you want to recommend a video topic, go ahead, and I keep pointing around. I'm sure there's a video you can watch if you want to keep watching. Thanks as always, guys. Bye.